Hello everyone, my name is MrHurriicane. Welcome back to the Carolina Panthers franchise. This is the edited offseason for the live stream I did last weekend of the final offseason in this series. We are about to begin the final season with the Panthers, but first I'll be showing you guys the recap of the offseason, which if you still want to watch the live version, I have two parts on my channel. The first is free agency and everything prior to the draft, and that was about an hour and a half. The draft itself is part 2 and is under an hour at 54 minutes. Those two parts are more detailed than this edited offseason, but this will give you all the highlights and important moves that happened to our team over the course of the offseason. Now obviously we missed the playoffs for the second straight season, so the first thing I did in the live stream was simulate the playoffs. And we saw the Saints lost in the first round to the 49ers, who then beat the Seahawks to advance to the Super Bowl, where they would meet up against the New England Patriots. Here is a look at the Pro Bowl rosters, and this year we do have another good amount of Pro Bowlers. Our defense was the third best in the NFL, our offense was kinda league average but still had some standouts. We did have Mike Tolbert make the Pro Bowl, we had two offensive linemen also make it, two rookies, Cesario Dorsey and Delonte Moore. That's it for us on offense, but you can also see Amini Solatolu made it 1 year after we traded him. On defense, we definitely had some representatives in the Pro Bowl. Just our entire starting front four. We have Star Lotulelei, K'Wan Short, Charles Johnson, and new starter from last year, Coney Ely. And for some reason, Luke Kuechly can't make the Pro Bowl in this series. I'm not sure what he has to do. He's not a guy who's going to get a ton of interceptions, but he makes all the plays in the running game, and that should be more than enough. So we had 3 on offense, 4 on defense, and then Carlton Sanders, although I don't think he deserved to make the Pro Bowl. In the Super Bowl, the 49ers win for I believe the second time in this series. So they are the champions, heading into the final season of the Carolina Panthers franchise. Now we can focus on the actual offseason, and here is one of my favorite players in this draft class, Tamarcus Fitzgerald. Strong safety with excellent size, speed, coverage ability, better at man than zone, but we're not quite focused on the draft. We have retirements and re-signings, as we see Julius Peppers retires. Then we see the Vikings release Anthony Barr, and perhaps I was looking to replace Thomas Davis in this offseason, or at least find another backup for him. We see more re-signings, Marshawn Lynch has rumors about his age, and here are the retirements for our team. Julius Peppers, DeJuan Edwards, and Andrew Whitworth. 3 players I did not plan on keeping around. I also wanted to make a move for salary cap purposes, but I saw that Jonathan Stewart's stats were actually down a lot more than I expected. 79 speed, very bad agility and acceleration. I planned on cutting him regardless because of the salary, but after seeing those ratings, I no longer wanted to re-sign him. So once this move was made, running back became a much greater priority. I was happy to see that Thomas Davis's stats weren't too affected. Some of them did get worse. I think he's a little bit slower, not as agile. And despite the injuries he's had in every season in this series, I still didn't want to look to get rid of him quite yet. I wanted to focus on my free agents. And our big 3 this offseason were Charles Johnson, Ryan Khalil, and Star Lotulelei, one of our very best players. I had a bunch of other free agents, and we'll begin with our punter, who was an undrafted free agent last year. I offered Ben Fernandez around $2 million per season. Now we'll go to the key players once again. Star Lotulelei, who wants more than $11 million a year. And then there's Charles Johnson, who wants between 7 and 8, but he's already 31 years old. Even at his age, he's still a very tough player to replace. So I did offer him $32 million over 4 years. Then there was Ryan Khalil, whom I thought was the most expendable of the big 3 free agents. He wanted just under $9 million a season. So what was I to do now with these players? I franchise tagged Star Lotulelei for $8.38 million, far less than his desired average per season. I was still going to consider signing Ryan Khalil, but I wanted to see how much salary cap I had once I took care of some other players. I did scout some centers, so I was prepared if I did have to move on from Ryan Khalil. I offered contracts to players like Brandon Williams, Cyrus Kouandjio. I lowballed Sylvester Sherman after a disappointing rookie season, and he did not accept. I wanted to try re-signing Adrian Robinson, who was IR'd in preseason last year. I offered him 1 year, $1 million. He didn't take that deal. So there weren't too many more names to go through. Taj Boyd was still there. I definitely wanted to keep him around. I thought he played well in Week 17, and I'm still looking to get good backup competition on the roster. Sam Barrington, I like his run-stopping ability and play on special teams. I wanted to keep him around. And then, a very key player on this defense, A.J. Klein, who stepped up big when Thomas Davis was hurt last season. I offered him a contract, and he did not accept. He will test free agency, which is what I was worried about and why I offered him more than he was originally asking for. Then there's Mike Tolbert, still a pretty cheap player. I wanted to keep him. Now we go back to Ryan Khalil, and I still had plenty of salary cap. I offered him a 2-year, $19 million contract, and he, along with many other players, accepted their deals. That means Ryan Khalil, Charles Johnson, and Star Lotulelei are all Carolina Panthers heading into Season 4. I thought the re-signing period went very well, and now we had some money to spend in free agency. I know many of you haven't been a big fan of this, but prior to this offseason, I was a spectator in free agency. Not this season. I wanted to get some more impact players to help us make that Super Bowl run we are looking for in Season 4. And running back was at the top of my priority list, especially with no Jonathan Stewart, a lot of inexperienced players on the roster. We needed a 3-down back. I also wanted a wide receiver. Linebacker was still something I liked to address, even if it's a backup or a player like Anthony Barr who could be a backup and a pass rusher for us. With no Julius Peppers, he could be our stand-up rusher if we want to still use that package this season. So I offered a contract to Anthony Barr. I was also interested in Jamie Collins. But the one linebacker I needed to keep, this was very important, was A.J. Klein. I offered him another deal. Then I checked cornerback, which isn't a huge need, but could still be improved, and there's Desmond Trufant. First, we'll go back to Le'Veon Bell and offer him a contract. One of the best running backs available in free agency. I like Le'Veon Bell's skill set, very similar to Jonathan Stewart, but he's more talented. Then there's Anthony Barr. I had to increase the offer, and I also wanted to give him a 4-year contract instead of a 7, which he wasn't a huge fan of, but I was offering him the most money. So there are the 3 players I looked at initially, and I knew I still would have some money to spend even if they all signed. So we'll go back to Desmond Trufant and place an offer. Every offseason I look for this opportunity. Can I take a key player away from a division rival? This was my chance, and I wasn't very happy they took Tyrus Hawkins in the draft last year, so I wanted Desmond Trufant even more. That, and he's an excellent corner. I had to keep increasing my offer because Washington wanted him very badly as well. Now we're looking at defensive tackles, and throughout this entire series, I've tried making our depth stronger. I haven't done a great job of that, but signing Sharif Floyd would be a great addition. The chat during the stream was pretty excited about the offers to Le'Veon Bell and Desmond Trufant. On the other hand, they weren't a big fan of the offer I made to Sharif Floyd. With that being said, I simmed forward, and Le'Veon Bell has become the newest Carolina Panther. He is our new starting running back. Big signing to kick off free agency as we get our 3-down back we were looking for. The chat was also excited about this signing, and you can see the comparison in skills between him and Harvey Hurst, but Bell is more complete. Hurst has some of his abilities, but not all. Back to free agency now, we have Vladimir Sutton. Remember him? I wanted him in last year's draft, and the Packers took him. Now I can make an offer. And here are all my remaining offers, including Sharif Floyd, whom I had to increase the offer for. The chat really didn't like when I was offering him even more money to be a rotational backup. Then there's Desmond Trufant, and I was still going to be aggressive in trying to sign him. I know Josh Norman and Emilio Benjamin played well last year, but you can never have enough corners, and if you can upgrade, you should. I was willing to offer whatever it would take to get Desmond Trufant in Carolina. Eventually, I did make the highest offer. And as we sim forward, the Panthers do sign Desmond Trufant. So it's him and Le'Veon Bell, our prized free agents. We also got Sharif Floyd, Brandon Pettigrew, A.J. Klein comes back, but we did not get Anthony Barr. He didn't like the 4-year contract versus his requested 7. I offered him the most money, but he still goes to Tennessee. After taking Desmond Trufant from Atlanta, they signed Brandon Browner and Leon Hall, 2 quality signings. Washington missed out on Desmond Trufant, so they gave Keenan Allen a bunch of money instead, over $10 million a season. And there is Sharif Floyd's contract, not quite $5 million a year. So the re-signing period went well, free agency went very well, and now we have the NFL draft. And we had 9 picks, and I didn't want to make 9, especially after free agency. I thought things went very well. I wanted to be aggressive and trade up. I did a little bit more scouting, and now we go to the NFL draft, where the Colts are on the clock as the number 1 team, and they select left tackle Tate Rowland. And after that pick, I was thinking it's time to trade up. I wanted to Marcus Fitzgerald. The Jets, will you take a 1, our 2, and our top 4 for the number 2 overall selection? I made that offer with no hesitation, but the Jets denied and they took to Marcus Fitzgerald with the number 2 overall pick. So the number 1 player on my board was already gone. Simming forward, there goes John Dawkins to Washington. I liked him a lot. We continue on. The Raiders take the first quarterback in the draft. The Falcons trade back and take a quarterback, Chris Wilson. Could they have a new starting quarterback this season? The Bills took DeKeyston Brandon, my favorite running back in this draft. But we had Le'Veon Bell, so I wasn't thinking running back any longer. Now I wanted Casey Stallworth, a linebacker, because I didn't get one during this offseason. I wanted Anthony Barr, I still want a backup outside linebacker, and the Broncos denied that trade request. I'll try again, Dallas, a 1, a 4, and a 7 to fall back 5 picks. I offered to Dallas. They denied and took Casey Stallworth instead. Now it's time to unleash Plan C, and I still wanted to trade up. Now there's the New York Jets. I only want to trade up a few picks, so I'm not going to offer a ton. A 1, a 5, and a 7, all you got to do is drop back 2 slots, New York. The New York Jets again denied and took Deion Neely, my favorite wide receiver. I wasn't going to draft him, but I was trying to get in front of Tampa Bay, who took Darrell Spencer, not who I wanted. I didn't need to get in front of Tampa Bay after all. I missed out on a safety and Casey Stallworth from Miami. So I blended the 2 together and took a safety from Miami. Welcome to the Panthers, Farrell Dunn, free safety, taken at number 20 overall. I did want Farrell Dunn in this draft, whether it was in the first round or trading up in the second, as the Saints took my favorite center, Riley Brock. No longer a need for us because I re-signed Ryan Khalil. Now we go into the second, and again I stay at my original pick. Do I take a receiver now? Not a huge need. I could address something else right now. Dominic Conley is good, but he's not great. Not like Deion Neely. So I took Devon Rosemond, a very good corner prospect who I know had A speed and A man coverage to get some more cornerback depth. So both picks are in the secondary, and then in the third, do I go secondary again? Damar Bostic was another very good prospect, but a 5th round projected player. Instead, I took my favorite quarterback that I scouted from Montana State. It's Andy Beckwith, who will provide more competition at Cam Newton's backup spot. Continuing on, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Trayshawn Kelly, big bruising running back from Nebraska. Their last pick from Nebraska worked out pretty well. And then I was still thinking about Damar Bostic. I could trade up, he may go on the 5th, but he's the 2nd best strong safety available. I've been through enough of these drafts to know that waiting for the players you like isn't always the best idea. And we have the picks to be aggressive and get the guys that I want. So I offered to Kansas City and they declined. So I thought maybe I'll increase the offer. From a 4 and a 7, we'll go to a 4 and a 6 to the Cleveland Browns. It was 1 pick later, and the Browns accepted. Finally, somebody will trade with me. And here I took Damar Bostic. So 3 picks in the secondary already, although the secondary wasn't bad last year. I'm still looking to upgrade places that could get better. Now into the 4th round, I took Jacoby Kendricks, a mid-round center prospect I like to be a backup to Ryan Khalil. I traded away one of my 4th round picks but still had another to use, and I drafted wide receiver Bobby David from Charleston Southern, a player I thought could be a gem at this point in the draft. Now into the 5th round, and my attention was focused on a playmaker. I wanted Watts Lewis, and he was taken by the Denver Broncos. That's what I get for not trading up. So instead I took Vincent Rodriguez, who I knew had a better chance to be faster because running backs in Madden 15 aren't that fast. And then the final pick, the 7th round. The last draft pick in this series is halfback Delancey Jackson. It won't be easy for him to make the roster, but we'll see what he can do in preseason. And there is the draft class of the final season in the Carolina Panthers franchise. Which of these rookies can make an impact to help us take that next step? We'll also look at some overall ratings. Farrell Dunn was our 1st round draft pick, and look at that, 84 overall. Overalls aren't what I look for, but I still want them to be high. And how about DeMar Bostic, an 84 overall safety and an 81? Nobody else was above a 72, but I was still very excited. And I had to compare Farrell Dunn to Tamarcus Fitzgerald. I was buying into the hype, the draft stories, all the positive things about Tamarcus Fitzgerald, but I knew his zone coverage was an issue. He is 6'3", and his speed was an A. He ends up having 78 man coverage, very good for a safety, 89 speed, so not blazing fast, but good speed for a safety, 76 zone coverage. So as it turns out, Farrell Dunn is the better player, and I'm happy to have Farrell Dunn instead of Tamarcus Fitzgerald. I'm also happy to have DeMar Bostic, whom I don't think will be a starter, but he could be a very good backup, and is going to make me look into those 3 safety formations. Bostic is your prototypical box safety. I could look into one of those big dime packages and have him at linebacker in a couple different formations. Then there's Vincent Rodriguez with his 97 speed. He also has acceleration, agility, elusiveness. Vincent Rodriguez could be a fun offensive weapon for us. I moved him to running back to offer some more flexibility, putting him in the backfield or having him play wide receiver. Then there's Casey Stallworth. I missed out on him. He turned out to have 80 speed and wasn't very good in coverage. So he actually wasn't exactly what I was looking for. He's still a really good linebacker, but I'm more than happy to have ended up with Farrell Dunn in the 1st round. There was also Watts Lewis, who was like an 81 overall, but he wasn't exactly the player I was looking for, which was fast, agile, someone who could return kicks, or just be a fun toy on offense. He's not blazing fast, but he's still talented, so I'm happy to also have Vincent Rodriguez. I'm happy with this draft and the offseason as a whole. Let me know in the comments section, what do you think of this offseason? Do you like the players I brought in through free agency? Do you like the draft picks? Is this team ready to make the jump we're looking for in Season 4? Up next is the preseason as we see these undrafted rookies and some veterans that I signed to fill out my roster. You know I'm going to have 70 players on the roster. That's as high as I can go. I'm always going to go max. You're not going to see some of the key starters in the preseason at all, like Cam Newton, Star Lotulelei, Luke Kuechly. I'm holding back a lot of those guys. Don't want any unexpected injuries before this season begins. This is a chance to see a lot of the backups compete for spots and fill out this roster. Here is a look at the entire list of players on this team, and afterwards you're going to see the players that are highest at some key ratings. The next video in the series will be the preseason. All 4 games condensed into one video with highlights and anything important that happens in those 4 preseason games. And then during the regular season, I'll give you guys a preview of the schedule. We open things up at home at night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then we play the Packers, Bears, Vikings, followed by the Buccaneers once again. We do play the Jets this season, so we will see Tamarcus Fitzgerald if he's starting, along with Deion Neely. We play the Patriots, the defending champions. We have actually that entire division. And we close the season, Week 16 against the Falcons, Week 17 against the Saints. And by the way, 9 of our games this year are either Sunday night or Monday night. Our game against the Jets is also a Thursday night, so 10 games under the lights. I am very excited to begin this season. First, we have to get through those 4 preseason games. And I know I said I wouldn't play a lot of those key starters, but I will play some a little bit because I just remembered I need to show you guys this new offense. And I need some time playing with our starting offense with this newer scheme. So I'm also excited to unleash that in the preseason. Thank you guys for watching. That is the Carolina Panthers franchise edited offseason, the final offseason in the series. This year, it's Super Bowl or bust. Can the Carolina Panthers finally win the Super Bowl? That's our goal in Season 4. Our journey towards that goal begins very soon. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Comment below your thoughts on the offseason. Did we do what it takes to get this team to the next level? Subscribe for the final season of the Carolina Panthers franchise. And I'll see you guys next time in the preseason. Have a great day.